So I'm going to say something that might ruffle some feathers. Your friend that's about to start chemotherapy does not want another fuzzy blanket or a pair of socks. Yeah, they're not going to tell you that. Hi there, my name's Jamie, and I endured 16 rounds of chemotherapy and several surgeries, but I did beat my triple negative breast cancer. Now, I was, of course, thankful for every single gift that I received on my journey, but the things that I really loved were practical items. I actually made an Amazon wish list at the very start of my journey, right after my diagnosis, and I did that because I knew that my community was going to want to come together to support me, and a lot of people just don't know what to do, don't know what to buy, just don't know what to do. So I wanted to make it a little bit easier for them. That's why I created my Amazon wish list. So what I'm going to do for you guys is tell you the items that I loved through my journey, the items that I used the most. Now, there's a lot of items to share, so I'm gonna break this up into smaller chunks. And this video today is the basics, the most used items on my chemo journey. Now, I think the item or items that I absolutely loved the most were gift cards to either DoorDash or Instacart. Now, I know a lot of communities come together and do a meal train, and that would have been great, but I had a lot of dietary restrictions. When I got my diagnosis, I changed a lot of things that I was eating. So making a meal train would have just been a big hassle for people to try and figure out what I could and couldn't eat. So DoorDash gift cards and Instacart gift cards were a godsend for me. With DoorDash, we could order food delivery right to our house. My husband could get whatever he wanted, and I could make those picky little requests on the things that I would order. Now, Instacart was fabulous on days that I needed groceries, but I just couldn't bear to get up and get out of the house. So those two things, along with Amazon gift cards, are the things that were a godsend and that I used tons. Number two, now you might already have one of these in the house, but I absolutely loved this 3-tier rolling cart. Now I also put a little caddy on the top of it. Let me tell you why I loved this. I spent most of my time during chemo either on my couch or in the recliner or in my bed. I kept all of my needed items in this 3-tier rolling cart. Now, it went from the top level was the necessities, and that's why I loved having this caddy for all the small items that could easily get lost. In this, I kept my medications, I kept my chapstick, tissue, a throw-up bag. This was the items that I absolutely had to have and needed to have quick access to. But this cart also had things like coloring books. It had things like lotion and all of those items that I often needed, but I never wanted to get up from the couch or get out of bed to get them. So that rolling cart and that little tote on top were invaluable during my chemo journey. Like I said, you might even have one of those at home. You can find them pretty easily anywhere, but at the end of this video, or actually in the comments of this video, I'm going to put a list to my Amazon storefront that has every single thing that I'm talking about. Number three, a cute little journal. Now, one of my friends bought this for me right after my diagnosis. On the front page in here, she even wrote me a sweet little note that encouraged me all throughout my chemo. But this notebook was perfect for me to tuck in my purse and take to every single doctor's appointment. All my appointments are written in here, but also as I would have a new side effect or a question that I knew I wanted to talk to the doctor about, I would make a note in this notebook because I knew if I didn't write it down, I was going to forget it. So as I look through this book, it is my entire chemo journey. Now, I also kept track of all of the gifts that I received so I could go back and write thank you notes on days that I felt good enough to do that. Number four was this pillow right here. This is a port pillow, or sometimes you might see it called a pacemaker pillow. When I was starting my chemo journey, the doctors put a Metaport right here in my chest. You can still see the scar from it. That Metaport is what was used to administer all of my chemo meds. It was fabulous for that reason because I didn't have to get my arms poked all the time when they took blood or when they did my chemo, but it was very tender and very sore, especially when a seatbelt would rub on that. So this pillow right here just Velcros to a seatbelt so I could take it with me if somebody else was driving me or different situations like that. It was easy to move around, but I just put it on the seatbelt and placed it right there on top of my port, and it made it so much more comfortable. Number 5 is this tumbler right here. Now, I will tell you, I got several different tumblers, of course, all the pink ribbon stuff, all of that, but this was my absolute favorite. And there is one main reason that it was my favorite. Let me open it up and show you. It actually is glass inside, and this part pulls out so you can put it in the dishwasher. Now, why is glass so important? I have worked really hard to eliminate as many plastics out of my life as I can. I want to stay away from all things plastic and microplastic. So that eliminated a lot of cups and tumblers. The other ones all had metal on the inside. Now, let me tell you that many different chemo drugs cause a metallic taste in the mouth. And when you use metal eating utensils or a metal cup, it just makes it even worse. So glass was my favorite thing. And oddly enough, I really just think water tastes better out of glass. So that being said, a lot of glass tumblers were purchased for me as well. But this is the only one that I found that is insulated. Most of the others just sweat everywhere, and then it was a watery mess in my cart or next to my bed. So I loved the fact that this was insulated and glass. Like I said, that can come out and go in the dishwasher. It comes with a lid and a glass straw. My only downside to this is that its size. I wish this company made a bigger cup, but they don't. It is Vin Glacé. Now, they do have their own website, but like I said, everything that I'm going to share with you guys is going to be available on Amazon, and I've put all of that in a storefront to make it really easy for you to see all of these items. But my Vin Glacé tumbler, even now that I'm done with treatment, this is still my cup of choice. And number 6 on the chemo must-haves. This one's not glamorous at all, friends. It's this right here. If you don't know what this is, awesome. I'm really glad. I wish I didn't know what it is. This is called an emesis bag. Now, emesis is just the medical term for throw up. These bags were a godsend. Now, when you're in chemo treatment, you never know when that wave of nausea is going to hit. So these were stashed everywhere that I might be. They were in my cart that followed me around the house. I also kept one in my purse for any time that we were out at a restaurant, church, out shopping, wherever. And then I kept one in the car as well. Here's why I love these emesis bags. The first thing is, you saw how compact it was when I pulled it out. Super compact, easy to travel anywhere, and pretty discreet. The other thing is, you don't have to aim. I don't even know how else to say that. When you need to throw up, you don't have to aim for a bowl or a bucket. You can put this right up to your mouth, and there's no question where that is going to go. No aiming required. Now, once you have used it and gotten sick, it's really easy to just grab it and give it a good twist. And the smell of that throw up is totally encased in this bag. Then you can easily grab this or hand it to someone and they can just toss it in the trash. There's nothing to clean up, nothing to clean out. You just throw it all away. These were amazing on the days that I was super nauseous. So that concludes my top 6 items that I recommend for someone starting a chemo journey. Like I said, my list is super long and I'm going to be sharing all of those with you guys, but just breaking them up into little chunks. I'm also going to be doing shorts and reels on all of these items, so make sure that you follow along if this is good information for you guys. More than anything, if you are personally just starting your chemo journey, please reach out to me. I want to know who you are and where you are in your journey so I can cheer you on all the way from Oklahoma. If you have a loved one that is just starting the journey, I really hope that you'll follow along with me so I can guide you into good practical gifts to get for those people. My biggest bit of advice is don't ever ask them what they need. they don't have the brain capacity to think about that. Show up with a coffee, show up with flowers, show up with one of these items that I'm going to recommend, and that is going to make a world of difference in your loved one's life. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you next time.